And a very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome. We are live on remote. We are in Sudworks here in Davis.
Woo! Yeah!
Good crowd out here for the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show with Dan Hawkins. Scott Marsh here with you until 8 o'clock tonight. Scott Berry joining us as well, as we're going to get you ready for the big game Saturday afternoon. The Aggies playing host to 4th-ranked Weber State. There's also a brew fest going on before the game. We'll give you all the information on that as well. We're going to hear from Ryan Frey, whose dad played for the Ags. He's the Director of Sales and Marketing, co-owner here at Sudworks. He's going to join us and talk about some of the great brews and, of course, the Gun Rock brew as well. We're going to hear from Christian Skepteris. We're going to hear from Bryce Rogers also. And we're going to have a good hour for you. All right, Dan, coming off the win on Saturday, 33-25 in Southern Utah. You guys led the entire way, got up 33-7, 26-0. They made a comeback. You guys held on. And did it feel to you in a way that you were playing out the Cal Poly script again for a second week?
I'm trying to work on my third quarter coaching. I haven't done a very good job. We're obviously playing good football, but you're just trying to get to that next level of being clean. And we always talk about the middle eight, kind of the last four of the first half and the first four of the second half, and trying to manage that appropriately. And I think that's led. We let Cal Poly and Southern Utah score right at the end of the first half. That provides a little momentum coming out, and we did stop them coming out of the break, and then we scored right after that, which was good. But then we let them eat up a bunch of time. As you guys know, that third quarter we had one drive on offense, which we scored on, and we made the plays to win. I'm always the artist, and I just don't really judge it by the score all the time. I'm trying to play clean and get our guys to go and play full throttle and all of that. And hey, it's great to win on the road, and you probably know. I mean, somebody told me we haven't won there in a long time, and I know when we beat Portland State a couple of years ago, they're going, the Ags haven't won outside of the state of California in I don't know how long, which is, well, kind of shocking to me. So, but hey, we went there. You guys were there. Let's face it, it was a little bit of a tough environment, just a different vibe to it. It is what it is, a different vibe to it. Long way away from the locker room. You got to meet in a room by the stadium and all of that. So we were able to overcome all that and do a great job. So. Yeah, it's good to win. It's good to win on the road. Coach Plow has some stat, I don't know, in the Big Sky, like your chances of winning are 28%, I think, on the road. So you have to feel good about that. And put a few things together, and we've got a tough Weaver team coming in here this weekend that we've got to play a lot better than that, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, focus in on the Wildcats as they rushed for 439 yards in their win against Northern Arizona on Saturday. Josh Davis, their outstanding back, had a school record 328 yards. We'll talk about how you try to stop him a little bit later in the show. You talk about overcoming obstacles, and we talked before the game, about the wind and the elevation and all those sorts of things. The one thing I couldn't ask you about was how do you prepare for a non-operating scoreboard? I know as a broadcaster, Scott and I were guessing times a lot up there. As a coach, how did that work in the game? And I know that happened at Cal Poly last year, but how do you manage that?
Well, shout out to Josh Nash. I know his grandma's watching, so give Coach Nash.
Yep, and she can see us on Facebook.
Exactly, a little shout out. He was keeping up with the officials and kind of timing it on his phone and letting us know. Ironically, we're 2-0 with no clock because last year Cal Poly had no clock. I always laugh a little bit. It's interesting to me, and one of the, I guess, benefits of being in my situation and coaching all over the globe and doing so many different things. Nothing really surprises me and nothing phases me. I mean, this year when we were at San Diego, their field wasn't marked correctly. It's incorrectly marked. And I've played in fields where the goalpost has been in the middle of the end zone, where it's been 10 meters and not 10 yards. You name it. So you just go with it. They come and said, hey, scoreboard's not going to be working. I'm like, all right. You got to figure out how you time it.
Yeah, it was just interesting because we were saying probably in a close game late where it will affect you the most, and that game was getting close.
It was
late.
Yeah, Josh was hanging in with the official there and letting us know what's going on.
Well, I crossed paths with their AD sitting in the golf cart when I was coming up. I went on the field before the game, and she's sitting there. I didn't know who she was, and I just introduced myself, and she had this distraught look on her face. And she was like, the scoreboard, we're not going to have a scoreboard. This isn't how we do things. we're better than this, and there's not going to be a big crowd because today's the beginning of the Harvest Festival and the first day of hunting season. I felt terrible for her. And then
she was not having a good day.
No, she was having a bad day.
She didn't have as bad a day as the guy that sang Sweet Caroline, though, in the warm-ups.
Woo.
That was a rough warm-up, I have to be honest with you.
Wow.
It's not necessarily the best way to fire up your players, Coach. No.
We had to close the window. I had to close it. I'm like,
I almost felt they were doing that to you guys specifically. You know?
I know. Well, that added to it. I've been calling it the year of the weird, and just everything's weird. I'm out there on the field, and you're hearing this poor guy try to belt this out, and I'm just going, really? Who signed this guy up?
It's a good thing Simon Cowell wasn't judging.
Oh, my gosh.
It would have been a rough ride for them. All right, on the bright note, and a very bright one, and I'm sorry, Coach, I didn't mean to interrupt you. If you
No,
had
you're
something
good.
to-
Wait, you didn't hear him sing YMCA?
I did.
Yeah, they tried that as
We
well.
only heard one song. We heard like 10.
Yeah, we had to listen to the full 90-minute pregame, so you were saved. But I want to say on the very bright note, of course, Jake Mayer, another landmark accomplishment as he gets over 10,000 yards passing. He played another great game for you guys, and certainly the list of accomplishments just continue to add up for your senior quarterback.
Well, a great combination between Coach Plow, who's very well steeped in the Aggie tradition and Aggie quarterbacks, and Scott spent a lot of time with Jake. You just couldn't find a more humble, hardworking, dedicated to the craft, rage to master. That stuff he doesn't really care about that per se. He cares about being a great quarterback every down. That's what he cares about. And he made some great audibles and checks in that game that really helped us out. But it is pretty phenomenal. You think about, we've had more NFL quarterbacks here at Davis, including Scott, than half the Pac-12 schools. Yeah. And this guy is going to pretty much blow all the quarterback records out, other than, I think, touchdowns with JT O'Sullivan.
He might get that one, too.
You think?
Yeah, he's on pace. I mean, right now, JT has 96. Jake's at 81.
Yeah. But again, just it's how he goes about it that's so awesome. Very low-keyed, humble guy. But yeah, another great landmark in Cedar City, Utah.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Scott, your takeaways from Saturday night.
You know what's interesting is that I know we all want to talk about the game, but I wanted to ask you about something that preceded the game that really struck me, and I had mentioned it to Scott several times. I had forgotten what it takes to move an army of about 80 people 600 miles away. The planes, the buses, the meals, all the support staff. I got to know the team doctor, the team chaplain, you have the trainers, all these people hauling out there. We're walking out to the field, Scott and I, and we see a van that says UC Davis on the side. Someone drove it out there with all the equipment. And so I was blown away by how efficient it was and what a great representation of the way you guys I was so impressed, gotta tell you. I was telling everybody when I got home, I had forgotten what it takes to field a team, to get a team there. And Kevin Gluson over there would know more than anybody, and Josh and Rob was there on the field in the first place. That impressed me. You get to the hotel, you need a banquet room, you need meeting rooms, you need equipment. Tim is setting up the video. I mean, all these things are happening. There's the trainers. And then what also struck me was the way you guys go about it. It's such a great representation of the university. Like there's thought. It felt to me like there was thought about everything. And then when you engage the players, they're cordial, they're intelligent. I had great conversations with them. And so, game aside, which I know is, it's all we want to talk about. It's what we want to talk about, and that's the thing. But I'm not sure people realize all that it takes to show up and play football.
Well, you're right. It does start with Kevin, and I think it starts with being in a program that want to do things right and recognize how doing all those things right. And you and I know when we traveled and how we traveled, it sort of matters. And you get too bumped out of your comfort zone, it kind of ruffles your feathers, and you want to stay kind of in your lane a little bit. We try to be as flexible as possible. But I would say you can't do it by yourself. Everybody can always come when you coach, fire the coach because he's an idiot and he can't win, and then, this guy's great. Well, there's usually, when he's great, there's a whole bunch of people around him that are helping support the vision and helping in so many different ways. And you're right, Motherlode loads up all our stuff, and he's got to truck it all the way to Utah and back, and Thomas Arguello, our equipment guy, and all the stuff he goes through, and you're right, Tim Ornelas is running around getting so many things set up, and there's a lot of moving parts, and all of our coaches and all those people that, and trainers have to set up for basically, they do triage and move their camp out, and then for 2 days they've got to do therapy and all that in a hotel room. So it is quite an accomplishment. And then your players have to move along and be orderly and kind of roll with it a little bit. But we take a lot of pride in the process and how we do it, and but you can't do it if your administration doesn't support you, doesn't believe in it. And I think the way we travel, we do charter, which is great, because we are able to fly right into Cedar City. If you're not, you're probably flying to Las Vegas and busing up to Cedar City. So all those things matter. And just the way they take care of the guys, feeding them and hydrating them and making sure they're taken care of, and we want them to have a first-class experience. And so it's really it's a UC Davis production. It's not just football or Dan Hawkins.
Yeah, it's first class through and through as your team gets the victory. We should mention, too, Nico Harris had a great game coming in, and Yolonzo had a great game, too, with 140 yards on 26 carries. But without Teron still and without TJ Spencer, you brought up Nico Harris, who had been a quarterback when he was first brought to campus, and then moved over to wide receiver, and because you had a need, he became a running back, and he had a great game, scored his first touchdown as an Aggie. And when I think about Aggie guys and people just pitching in wherever and what you talk about, I'm thinking Nico Harris right now.
Yeah, we always talk about Davis guy, and again, Scott knows this. Just find your role and thrive in your role, and understand that everybody's role is important. Just like you talked about all those people that get us there that nobody knows about them, and we really try to embellish that and reward that. One of the coolest things we do is on Monday morning how we give out our awards. We call them battlefield commissions. We don't really care about, Jake, we don't care about yards and touchdowns. It's about the culture, like who is really supporting the culture of UC Davis football. But yeah, Nico blows his knee out his senior year, comes back, plays in the state championship game, comes here, we move him to receiver, we move him to running back, really having a hard time figuring out. He's hanging in there, banging away, and we kind of go, hey, just stay alive and stay hopeful, and he keeps working. And so many guys on our team like that, which is really cool to me, because we really emphasize that and try to build from the bottom up. All the stars get all the accolades, and they get plenty of rewards, but I call them 1,000 invisible moments. There's just a ton of kids and people that operate underneath that nobody ever knows about. They're so important.
Absolutely, and it was just great to see him, and he's a guy who might be a hidden gem, because he showed some explosiveness in the backfield.
He can run.
I was going to say what really impressed me about his performance, and we knew you guys were thinking about using him. First run, he gets stoned. He catches a pass, he gets stoned.
Yeah.
And you thought, oh, is he going to say this isn't working? And he hung in there, and he ran the ball and did a great job. So that little bit of a rough start, getting popped a couple times, and maybe that was good for him to feel that. But I thought he did a great job. He's got some quicks too.
He can run.
Yeah,
he does, and he's got a little savvy to him. He's got a little balance. He was really a dual threat quarterback before he hurt his knee in his senior year. But yeah, he came back. He made that nice run down by the goal line. It was 4th and 1. We went for it. We did a great job, and he ran in untouched. But really great story. Really, again, I love every Monday I can look around at all these guys in the room and look at the strife and the struggles and the ups and the downs that each kid has had, and to be able to use these moments for them to propel them later in their life is really a cool thing for a coach.
Yeah, and on the defensive side, Jalen White gets his first career interception. It comes at a very key point in the game, late in the game, to hold off Southern Utah. Cole Hansen, who's been injured, comes back. He makes 4 solo tackles, a career high for him, so everybody chipping in.
Yeah, we just keep talking to guys. We obviously have had some people dinged and missed some reps, but it's next guy up, and everybody's young, thin, and beat up. So we train all our guys. We give our guys reps. We practice them. We run a system that they understand. We keep engaging them and keep promoting them, and eventually they filter in and find their way there and make really good contributions. And Jay White, I was really happy for him. He's a super athletic kid, and we struggled a little bit on the back end, and Chappelle Brown put him in and came up with a big play there. We needed it.
Yeah, he made a big play indeed as the Aggies get the win over Southern Utah. 4-4 overall, 2-2 in the Big Sky. Weber State upcoming. It's the Brew Fest as well. Dan, Scott, we'll talk to you guys a little bit about that later in the program. But when we come back, we're going to bring on the athletes. We've got Christian Skepteris, tight end for the Aggies, Bryce Rogers, defensive end for UC Davis, and we'll be with them next. This is the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show. We're live on remote. We're here at Sodaworks in Davis, right here, Sports 1140 KHTK. Bring them back at the end of the program, but right now we're going to talk to a couple of the standout athletes for the Aggies. On the offensive side, junior tight end Christian Skepteris, and on the defensive side, junior end Bryce Rogers. Guys, thanks for being out here tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good to have you guys. You guys are finding a little momentum now. You've won 2 straight. You've led 8 straight quarters. Now, that's not to say it was easy, because obviously there were some comebacks in those games. But how are you guys feeling right now, Bryce? You guys are 4-4, 2-2. You've got some big games upcoming. Obviously, Weaver's a tough opponent on Saturday. How are you guys feeling as you approach the last third of the season?
You know, we're feeling pretty good. I know as a team, really we're just trying to focus on ourselves. You know, not really worried about the people that we go against or, you know, what they might run. Really, we're just trying to focus on our scheme and, you know, have trust that the scheme is what's going to make us prosperous in these next upcoming games. But, you know, as long as we're getting better and focusing on ourselves, I don't think we're going to have any problems.
Yep, absolutely. Now, with Weber State, obviously, they love to concentrate on running the football. That kid, Josh Davis, had a career day on Saturday, 328 yards. They rushed for 439 yards. So, obviously, the line play is going to be very key on Saturday. So how do you go about trying to stop their big run game? They're big and physical.
So, like I said, most of the time we've just been working on trying to get our techniques right, staying low, and, you know, us being more physical up front, and, you know, so we can take on basically any type of block that comes our way if we're playing our technique. Hopefully we'll be able to beat through those blocks, cause some disruption, try to stop some of those long plays that has been happening. And, you know, shout out to the Coach Hugh and all that. He's really been focusing on basically everything that we need to know for these upcoming games. And, you know, Weber State, they have a real good scheme. They're doing things right, in my opinion. But as long as we're focused on ourselves, you know, we play to our best ability. I don't think we're gonna have anything to be upset about.
You'll be ready to go. And you talk about disruption, and obviously Coach Tucker focuses on that too. Your D coordinator, you've got 18 sacks so far in the year. D-line in particular this year, a lot of people were saying that it might be the most deep position in the entire UC Davis football roster when you look at it. And of course, not only you, but Jordan Franklin and Roland O'Cansey, and then Doug Drakely. I always ask everybody about Doug because he's got such a great story. 27 years old, he was in the Army 5 years between coming back to college. And what experiences do you get from somebody like a Doug Drakely?
I love Doug. Doug is really just an amazing guy. You know, having somebody that is older, that has been through a lot, and you know, has been in adverse situations, it really helps us. You know, kind of a lot of his situations can be, you know, absorbed and taken.
They're life lessons.
Exactly, putting it, you know, you can put it in your own life. So that personally has helped me a lot. You know, not only at football, but, you know, in school. You know, just persevering. You know, when you're hurt, you know, you just got to keep on playing through it. Don't really focus on, you know, the outside things. Just like kind of be in your, you know, just be in yourself, focus on yourself, and just keep on moving forward.
Yeah, you've had some injuries here at UC Davis. You played just 4 games last year, so talk about battling back.
You know, it was difficult, you know, especially being out. I was out the whole off season before that, basically, as well. So just fighting back, you know, and, you know, still trying to continue to practice and going to rehab and, you know, trying to figure out how to write in the cast and all that other type of stuff. You know, it was difficult, but, you know, once you get the hang of it, everything kind of, you just get used to it. You just keep on going through it. It's just like, it just turns into another daily thing that you don't really even think about anymore.
Well, you're back in full force with 22 tackles, 2.5 tackles for losses, a couple of sacks, some quarterback hurries, a fumble recovery. You're kind of getting it done in every aspect of the defensive game. So that's got to feel good for you. All right, Christian, let's talk about you, because you're in a very deep part of the roster for the Aggies too, at tight end. I go down the depth chart, and I always wonder what is the depth chart, because you've got Wes, the All-American, Matthew Hyman, who has really come on. He's a speed
Yep.
burner. You've got Blake Thorpe, who is just the golden boy freshman, who,
Yeah.
who really seemingly athletically can do it all. And Pat Miller's still there, who lines up, but is also a great special teams player.
Right.
So you guys got quite the unit there.
Yeah, we do. I think that's all credit to Coach Crane really getting us prepared, and I think it's just speaks to the volume of the closeness of that group, and we really take pride in making each other better. And I think that's evident as all of us can get out there and be a dynamic player at any given time.
Yeah. How do you look at it for your role specifically within that group?
I think I'm kind of like the energizer bunny.
The Energizer Bunny?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I kind of go in. I'm gonna get stuff done, be the dirt dog of it, and when we need a yard or two, I'm gonna go in, get that done, and I'll let the other guys have the success, have the touchdown, get in the newspaper and all that. I'll just like to see our team win and have success.
Well, you have had one catch, and it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
In that North Dakota game.
Right.
It was a nice catch, too. You had to go backwards, down to the ground. Making the ground was a big part of the game.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So you've shown you can catch it. Now, you guys showed a little 12 personnel in the game on Saturday, and that's not something that Davis normally does. So just talk about that with the double tight end set.
I think we've had some injuries to a couple of the receivers these past few weeks, and I think, speaking to how deep the tight end group is, I think we kind of realized that we can kind of go 12 personnel. We got guys that can all run and block at the same time, and that does give defensive hard looks because you can't really tell, all right, are they about to run the ball or are they about to pass the ball, because we got guys that can do both. And so I think that has helped us in these past two games here getting back on track.
Absolutely. And then you get the catch from Jake Mayer and you get the block for Yolonzo Gilliam. That's not a bad combination.
Oh, not at all. I mean, those two guys are top in the conference, and I always joke with Alonzo. I go, hey, where you run the ball, man? He's like, I'm running behind tight ends. And so, it's easy to play hard for guys when you got great respect for them, and they're just good dudes all around.
Absolutely. We're talking with Christian Skepteris, Bryce Rogers from the Aggies here. Big game on Saturday versus Weber State. It's also the Brew Fest, so there'll be another big crowd on hand, just like with homecoming. Wanted to talk to you what it was like playing in front of that record crowd last time out against Cal Poly, Bryce.
Oh, it was great, especially coming out with the dub. It was just a great thing to see. Really, when you're playing, you don't really notice it that much. You really kind of just focus on the game. But I do remember, like, during a timeout, they announced it. And I started looking around. I'm like,
it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's pretty packed right now. I didn't even notice it until I heard it during the timeout. So that was great to see. You always love to see it. Always love to have friends, family, just fans in general come out and come watch the game and have a great time.
Yeah, and everybody was having a great time. And defensively, talk about, because the last 2 weeks you guys have made big defensive plays to kind of keep the game in your favor. Nick Eaton had they called it a fumble recovery for a touchdown. It was really a pickoff, right? Yeah, and then of course last week Jalen White coming up with the INT as well. Do you guys rally and say, okay, it's time for us to make that stop? We got to come up with something big.
We're always trying to look for the stop. We're always trying to make the stop. It's never, we're never saying like, oh, it's okay, like they scored. We're just going to get out there next time. But it's always good. It's always good to see that kind of like the stop in their momentum in the beginning of ours. So it was great seeing those, and after that, you kind of really rally behind things like that happen. So
absolutely, and you're from Palo Alto. Did you think maybe you were going to go to Stanford someday? Did you go to a lot of Stanford games growing up, or what was your high school path being so close to a school like that? And did that influence you wanting to come to a school like Davis, which is kind of similar to Stanford in terms of academics, athletics?
So I did get recruited a little bit from Stanford when I was in high school, but this was my first offer. It was my only offer actually. And my dad actually went here, so
he did.
He did.
Did he play ball?
He played ball for a couple years, I believe.
Okay.
Back in the D2 era.
Okay.
So, it's actually funny that, I think that personally it might have been because I've been exposed to UC Davis for so long, but UC Davis has always been top, one of the top schools for me.
Did you come to a lot of games as a kid?
I didn't.
No,
actually.
Your dad never came back up.
No, we used to live. We used to live in the Bay, but for the most of my time growing up, I lived in SoCal actually.
Okay.
So it's kind of hard.
Yeah, you're not going to make that weekly trip.
Exactly.
For sure. But obviously, your dad was very happy when you decided to go to UC Davis. That was an easy sell.
Yeah, for sure.
That was an easy sell. And for you, Christian, you're from Arizona. Not a lot of out-of-state players, so that says a lot about what they thought about you. Because if you're being recruited from out-of-state, you're pretty talented. Because they're not going to go for the out-of-state guy normally, unless there's an extra reason to do it. But talk about your path at UC Davis.
Actually, I came from Arizona, and actually my offense coordinator of the high school knew one of the old previous coaches out here. And, they say it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. And luckily, I don't even think I was on Davis's radar up until about then. And they came out and saw me. And luckily I did good enough to impress them and get out here. And, I think being a out-of-state kid, California's a dream state. You know what I mean? It's got the glamour, the glitz, and I think I was wooed by that a little bit, and I came out here, and it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made. So
UC Davis is a great school. I don't usually hear glamour and glitz with UC Davis. Usually, they're talking Pepperdine or UCSB. But you were happy to get out here, obviously.
Right, obviously. I think Davis is a great town.
It is.
Being at a school like UC Davis, top university.
You can't beat it.
Yeah, you can't beat it, exactly.
No, you made a good choice. Now, is it Chaparral High School?
Chaparral.
Chaparral. There's a lot of talent at that school.
Yeah.
I noticed that school a lot when I'm looking at D1 individuals. Talk about that school a little bit.
I think it's had good tradition. I originally in high school wasn't supposed to go there, but I knew the dream young age. I wanted to go play college, and so I think I went out there, and it was a great decision. I think that's just kind of who it is out there, and it just kind of, I wouldn't say a powerhouse, but we do breed talent, and I'm lucky to be one of the contributors to that.
Yep, and certainly East Palo Alto brings a lot of great players too, Bryce. I'm sure you played with a lot of good guys growing up.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys have a rich tradition, and obviously doing a great job here at UC Davis. Talk about you're in your junior year. So, have you thought about life after football? Have you made kind of the future plans in terms of what you want to do, Bryce?
Yeah, I've always, for years now, I've always known that I wanted to be somewhere in the medical field. So I'm still trying to figure out exactly what I want to do.
Psychology major, right?
So I'm thinking psychiatry is definitely one of them. My brother was a psychology major. He's getting his master's right now. So definitely that is definitely something that I'm thinking about. So after this is basically med school is what I'm looking at.
Got it. Okay. Christian, how about you?
I want to be a football coach, actually.
Do you really?
Yeah, I want to be a college coach. So actually, we want to do this talk show for some time now, and Nash told me I was doing it today, and I was fired up. So
well, you got this part now.
Right, appreciate that.
You got this part down.
Exactly.
So that part's taken care of. So, all right, Saturday. Give us a flavor for Saturday. Obviously, it is the big game against Weber State, and there are 4 games. It's a series of 1-week battles. I know you guys only look towards the next game. So, what can fans expect coming out on Saturday, Bryce?
A lot of energy. I know it's definitely going to be Brewfest, so there's going to be a lot of people there.
Yep.
I'm expecting
festive.
So it's going to be a lot of energy in the crowd. Expecting a lot of energy in the field. 2 great teams going at it. I mean, what more can you want?
Absolutely. This is what it's all about, right? When you play college athletics, and for you guys, you get a chance to get an upset, not even an upset really, but get a win against a top 5 team. And you guys have been close this year. Obviously, the North Dakota State game, you guys were right there. You played Cal very well as well. So now you get a chance to kind of get over the hump and get a win against a really quality opponent, Christian.
Yeah, I think they got a good defense. We got a good offense, and I think we're gonna go out there and have some fun.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Thanks, guys, for coming on. Let's hear for Bryce Rogers, Christian Skepteris here with the UC Davis Aggies. This is the Bud Light UC Davis Coaches Show. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Brewfest a little bit. We're here at Sudworks, so we got to hear from Ryan Frey, the Director of Sales and Marketing, co-owner of Sudworks. We'll talk about the Gun Rock Ale. We're going to talk a little bit about the Brewfest as well, right here on Sports 1140 KHTL. Davis Football Coaches Show. Scott Marsh with you here live from Sudworks. We'll hear from Dan Hawkins coming up again in the next segment. Scott Berry's here as well. But right now we want to talk a little bit about the brew side. Of course, the Brewfest is going on as part of the game on Saturday. The Aggies playing host to Weber State. 4 o'clock kickoff. There is a Brewfest before the game, and that'll start at 1 o'clock. Of course, UC Davis has the #1 malting and brewing science program in the country, so this will be honored. Lots of Great brew will be out there, and you can get a ticket too that will include entry into the Brew Fest and also a ticket to the game. We're selling tickets out here at Sidwork, so if you're listening here, get your tickets out here if you're watching the program, because if it's anything like last game, which was a record crowd of over 11,000, tickets are going to be hard to get on game day. So you want to get those now. If you're out here in the crowd, take advantage of that, or you can go to ucdavisaggies.com. Right now, I'm joined by Ryan Frey. He's the co-owner of Sidworks, the director of sales and marketing. And you were very nice to bring me three of a 4-can pack of the Gun Rock American Lager.
Yeah,
I see the fourth can.
Yeah, cracked into it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame you. This is good.
Can't
good
just
stuff.
look at me. You gotta drink it too.
Absolutely. And the marketing on this is fantastic. Of course, you have the Aggie mascot, the Gun Rock, and the blue and gold. It just feels total Aggie, and why not? You're in Davis, so it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. I mean, we're couldn't be more excited to have a beer that represents the Aggies. And the proceeds of this beer actually go back to the athletic foundation, or the athletic department. And so we're excited to be able to support UCF athletics as well as promote their brewing program. As you said, they have one of the top brewing programs in the world, actually. And
number one, it says right here.
Yeah, number one. And
you know, if Charlie Bamforth was a part of the program, it's number one.
Yeah, the Pope of Foam. He's
Sultan of Suds.
Yep, nailed it. He's signed off on this Gun Rock beer right here. He actually helped us develop the recipe along with some other UC Davis alumni that are institutions in the brewing world, and we were able to team up with also a local farmer here that grows rice out at the Causeway, DeWitt Farms. So we use a sushi grade rice here to give it a nice light, clean, crisp finish. So it's a great beer to be drinking while you cheer on the Aggies.
That's awesome. Now, Ryan, I have to talk to you about your dad. He's a well-known guy in the community. Pat Frey, of course, was a CEO of Sutter Health, I want to say.
Yep.
But also, he played for the Aggies. So
He
he's
did.
a football player here. You understand what UC Davis football is all about.
Yeah, I have UC Davis football in my blood. I went to Cal Poly, but at the same time, I grew up loving the Ags and going to all the games.
Now, how did your dad let you go to Cal Poly?
It was tough. I didn't get accepted in Davis, so that made it a little bit easier.
Okay.
But otherwise, I probably would have been here. I was born and raised here, grew up here, came back after Cal Poly, and I cheer on the Ags even though they were playing Cal Poly the other week. It's tough not to. I mean, they've been an exciting team to watch over the last couple of years, and my dad and I always love cheering them on. So
Absolutely. Well, Andy Fisk is happy that you're a Cal Poly grad. He is as well. So you guys can talk afterwards. But it's great, the tradition, and you understand what it's all about. You get it here at UC Davis. Let's talk about Sidwork a little bit. You guys have been here since 1989, completely family owned, right?
Yep, we're still family owned. My business partner Trent Yoxon, his grandfather Dean Unger, and his buddy Ron Broward started the brewery in '89. We're celebrating our 30th year. We took it over about 10 years ago. Wanted to keep the hometown brewery alive. The beer's always been great, and we thought that Davis really could use a nice brewery to go along with UC Davis' brewing program. So our goal here is really turn Sidwork into a destination for the region and really represent and support the community. We love beer at the same time. Beer only goes so far, and we know that really the community supports it. So that's something that we're excited to always be a partner with the community as much as possible.
That's awesome. I know UC Davis Athletics appreciates the partnership as well. I understand you might be doing some food as well. Can we talk about that?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. It's been a long time coming. Unfortunately, the restaurant went out of business a few years ago. When we took over the brewery, that was already leased out, and now we have a shot to revive it. So we've been working on redesigning the whole space. Really want to open it up bigger and better than ever. So the goal is by mid next summer to get it back up and running. We're just kind of working through permitting and design right now, but we'll be remodeling the whole restaurant, bringing on a full kitchen, opening the patio back up, and then really rebuilding our beer garden out here in the dock to really be an established beer garden for a lot of big events and things of that nature.
So that's going to be super cool. This is a great area out here. I love it out here. And talk about this gold and bronze medal at the Great American Beer Festival.
Yeah, we were lucky this year to take home gold with our Meritzen Amber Lager. It won silver last year, and it's always been the local favorite. It won Best of Show at the State Fair a handful of years ago amongst all these IPAs, and now it just took home gold at the Great American Beer Festival, which is the largest beer festival or award or beer competition in the world. So we're real excited. The Pilsner took home bronze. We're hoping to take a step up to gold next year, but those are really our two main beers, and they're original recipes that were founded here in 1989 from a fifth-generation brewmaster from Germany. And when we got involved in the brewery, went back to the original recipes, tried to revive them, and really dialing into what they were originally. So we're excited that they really are being recognized now for being at the top of their tier.
That's awesome, and it's well deserved as well. And of course, on Saturday, people can sample.
Yep,
all
we'll be
your
out
good
there.
stuff.
Yeah, we'll be out there at the Brew Fest. I think we said about 30 breweries, and we'll be one of them. We'll have the Gun Rock, we'll have the Meritzen Amber Lager, won gold, the Pilsner, won bronze. So yeah, come on out and you can try all the beers. Should be a good time.
It'll be a great time, and I'm definitely coming by
Please do.
your place
Look forward to it.
on Saturday. Again, the Brew Fest is 1 o'clock before the game, which is a kickoff at 4. Ryan, appreciate the time. Thanks for having us out
Always
here
a pleasure.
tonight.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely. Let's hear it for Ryan Frey, who's co-owner out here at Sodawork, Director of Sales and Marketing. We'll take the break, come back. Coach Hawkins will rejoin us. Scott Berry's here as well. We'll focus in on the game. Weber State, it's a big showdown in the Big Sky Saturday. We'll have it right here on Sports 1140 Caged again. Sodaworks, our thanks again to Ryan Frey for having us out here. It's great to talk to him. The Gun Rock American Lager, of course, you'll be able to get that at UC Davis Health Stadium on Saturday. The Brew Fest at 1 o'clock. The kickoff, 4 o'clock. Aggies taking on Weber State. It's the lone matchup of two championship teams in the Big Sky from a year ago. Of course, Eastern Washington not on either the Aggies or the Wildcats schedule this year. Back with Coach Hawkins, Scott Berry here as we get ready to focus in on Saturday now. And Coach, we touched on it a little bit in the first segment, but obviously Weber State, every week's a big game. I know it's the biggest cliche I say each and every week to you, but the Wildcats certainly are a good team. They come in 4th in the country, undefeated in the Big Sky, and this will be a great matchup on Saturday.
I have a lot of respect for Jay Hill. He's their head coach. Really classy guy. Brent Myers is a friend of mine. Is their O-line coach there. They're extremely physical, extremely well coached, know how to win. Real solid all the way around. Jay is by nature a defensive guy, so you see where they are there. But run the ball, as you mentioned from last week, they had a ton of yards. Really aggressive in the kicking game. Really talented team. We went there a couple years ago and ran a ton of plays and had a ton of yards, but came back with a 3 spot.
That was a tough game.
For our efforts, yeah.
That was a tough one on the road.
And really, it's an example of football in general. It's not about all these yards. You get down there in the big boy zone, down there inside the 20, you better score some touchdowns.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because a mark of a good team, turnovers, and we'll touch about that, but if you look at their total yards, they're a little over 335. They give up 370 a game, so they're 5-2, but they're giving up more yards. But then you look at their red zone defense. 6 of 19 opponents are scoring touchdowns inside the red zone, 31.6%. I can't remember seeing a number like that is anywhere near that close in FCS.
Well, if you would have looked at North Dakota State, it was right in there.
Whew.
Right in there. And that all starts with the guys up front. They're really solid front, really aggressive, big, physical, strong guys. And when you get down there, as Scott knows, the field gets reduced. I mean, you can make some throws, but you've got to put your pads on and play big boy football and run the ball a little bit.
Yeah, but then to the point on turnovers, and Scott, I'll let you in, but a mark of a good team is the plus minus on the turnover ratio. They're plus 10, second in the nation. They just don't turn over the football.
No, they hang on to it and they do a good job causing. They're first in our conference and doing a nice job there. There's a lot of teams in our conference that are in the plus side of turnover category, and the reason so many good teams.
I was going to say you guys were all on the same page because on my little notes here and stats that I was looking at, I wrote red zone stops and scores. What stood out to me was that they have less total yards than their opponents. They have 61 more points. But in the red zone, which is really striking, they're a plus 17 percentage-wise in red zone scores over their opponents. They're a plus 42 in percentage-wise over their opponents in red zone touchdowns. And so I just thought, look, the red zone is where you score from, but this is a red zone game. Stops and scores. If you get in the red zone, you got to score. You got to come away with something against this team because they're very efficient in the red zone.
They stop the run and they run the ball, and they don't turn it over. So that's a good formula down there.
Yeah, no, it is indeed. And I meant to go back to Christian Terrace. It was great to have him in Bryce.
Hey, let's just call him Skippy.
Skippy, okay, we'll call him Skippy. He's left, right? So I can get away with that. He's not going to get me at all. Okay, Skippy said he wants to be a football coach.
Yeah.
So that was some good info there. That's got to fire you up, Dan.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I went to UC Davis, I was a PE major, but if you know anything about PE, there was no activity classes. Everybody in there was going pre-med or pre-therapy or wanted to go into research. And I remember some people in there going, "What are you doing at Davis? You want to be a football coach?" I'm like, "I want to play good football. I want to be a good football coach." So, but he's obviously a fireball and has great enthusiasm, brings a lot to the team, and he spends a lot of time at the offices up there. And he'll be probably another in the great line of Aggie football coaches, which have been many.
Yeah, the tree has been documented so many times, and yeah, Christian's got a real great chance at that. Skippy does, I should say. And then Bryce, I didn't realize this, but his dad played at UC Davis. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he redshirted last year. We kind of wanted him to play, but he didn't want to, so we don't force guys to do things around here. Kevin Blue always tells me I'm a libertarian, which I guess maybe I am, but we're not going to force guys to do something. We want him to play, but he was kind of dinged up and he wanted a redshirt. Really solid, done a nice job for us down in front. We've got several big guys, which helps us in the run game.
Yeah, and even our guest Ryan Frey, his dad also played football at UC Davis. Pat Frey in the late 70s. I don't know, did your careers?
No, but I know that I certainly know the name and have heard Coach Arp echo.
I know that name.
Yep, I've heard Coach Arp echo that name, as well as Coach Foster.
That's pretty cool, Scott. I mean, anywhere you go, it almost seems like somebody's got some tie to this program, and I'm sure you get that around all the time.
You know, in this area around here, I mean, there's guy after guy you come across, you know, guys that I played with, Sean Rogers in Sacramento, Randy Williams over in Elk Grove. Yeah, there's a great group of guys.
And I'm glad you mentioned Sean's name, by the way, because Sean, I see him a lot. He is the chief security guy for the Sacramento Kings.
Yes.
Travels with the team and the players. I see him at the arena a lot.
Juice.
Is his nickname Juice too?
Yeah, we call him Juice, yeah.
Did Josh, is he
Juice.
okay with Juice? Go okay
Well,
with that?
that's the other Juice, but you know, Sean Rogers ran for the United States Olympic Committee. He didn't go, or Olympics, the team, and he did not go to the Olympics, but was running the quarter mile for them. And so, yeah, he and I played in the same genre. And this is being a Davis guy, and I sort of learned this is we would have plays sometimes where the fullback, by the nature of the formation, would be the person that would be most likely to get maybe a check down ball or an alternate ball. And he knows, 91Z curl. So, but I remember one time Coach Soker kind of pausing a little bit, and I knew in his mind he's thinking, I really don't want Hawk over here. I'd rather have Sean over here.
Yeah.
So I just kind of threw it out there. I go, how about I just switch with Sean? And he's like, that's a good idea. So over the time, I realized if there was a huge propensity that the ball would go to my position, then I should switch with Sean and get Sean there. Because you'd rather have a guy running for the United States track team than the dumpy full guard.
Got it.
He could roll.
Well, Sean kind of fits into the game on Saturday because Yolonzo coming into the game, 1,723.
Hey, let's back up. Just Lonzy.
Okay.
There you go.
Skippy. Okay. So, Lonzy, 1,723 yards. He's 11th all-time already on the rushing list.
That's incredible.
It is. Next up, Sean Rogers, who's 10 at 1,812 yards. So, Lonzy is 89 yards away from getting into the top 10. Wow. That's pretty impressive.
How far away Preston Jackson? Do we know that number?
I didn't go that far down the list, but he's got a ways to go.
Preston is the leading rusher, correct?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And it's well over 2,000.
I met Preston this year at a swim meet. My daughter was in a swim meet. His kids were in a swim meet. And he walked by, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I'm like, are you? And he's like, are you? And we spent the next, actually the whole day, chatting and seeing each other, and had a great conversation.
Yeah, he was a big back here.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah.
That 93 team with him and Kahari Jones. I was thinking back to this because you were talking about the travel plans and what it takes.
Kahari's got Montreal going, by the way.
He's playing very well.
He's coaching very well.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. No, it's a great point because he has done a great job as a player, now as a coach up there in the Canadian Football League. But I was thinking back, you were describing the travel plan so cleanly. 93 is the first time we traveled to Southern Utah. I was a student at Davis at the time. the travel plans on that day was a wake-up call same day at 4 a.m., bus to the airport, commercial flight to Vegas, bus to Cedar City. One of the buses on the way from Vegas to Cedar City broke down mid-route. We waited on the side of the road for 90 minutes for a second bus to come for one of the buses. We got to the hotel in Cedar City about 3:30, 4 o'clock before 6 o'clock kickoff. So the players were literally changing in the ballrooms. They were trying to get something to eat about 2.5 hours before the game. And then unfortunately, that was the one regular season loss they had the whole year, 28-27. They lost at a weird 2-point conversion late in the game. And I always thought, if the travel plans were different that year, they would have been undefeated in the regular season. So. But,
how times have changed.
Yes,
the thing
have
too is, that I worked out and you worked out the day of the game.
Yeah.
It's 5,800 feet. Elevation, and I felt it. And I wondered during the game if at some point during that game, no excuses. That's how we roll.
No,
but at the same time,
Yeah, there's definitely science there. You get it. But we just try to, work through that. It's not like we're ignoring it. We're going, okay, we understand that, but we have to play a game. So let's go and let's deal with it. And but it has a little bit of effect. I told you guys before, and I'd gone to Wyoming before, and we beat them, and it's 7,000. And we acknowledge it. It is what it is, and let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, let's go. Nobody cares.
Yeah, your team dealt with it well. All right, we also have to talk about on Saturday, it's not just the Brewfest, but it also is the second induction to the Aggie Pride Wall. Bo Eason, the gentleman who you know very well, is going to be inducted into the Aggie Pride Wall, the second person along with Ken O'Brien, who was 2 years ago. So his name and number will be up in UC Davis Health Stadium. That'll be great on Saturday.
What high school did he go to?
Delta High
Yes,
School.
we know another
Where
one
all the
as
stars
well.
go.
Exactly.
Where all the stars go.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody asked me really what my recollections were, and that really was one of it. I was always amazed at how small, because I hadn't heard of your school, and I went to small school too, and then looking up all the guys that came from your school, because Bob Slater was here, and you were here, and
His
Bo
brother
Eason
Tom,
was here.
his brother Dan, Fred Wheeler. We had a bunch of guys.
Tony
Yeah.
Eason was pretty good.
Tony
But
Eason.
I was always amazed. There were 3 guys on that team, and
Yeah.
of course 2 guys played in the NFL. Obviously Tony did too, but I'm just saying on our team there.
Oh yeah.
And I was always amazed at that. But yeah, we called him Crash. And the thing I loved is I got to know Jerry Glanville later in life, and he told me, Bo Eason guy, he had an NFL body, or an NFL talent and a D2 body. That's what killed him. He had a D2 body. Because he just, his body couldn't hold up. But he could run and did a great job as the quarterback on defense. And Coach Foster did a nice job getting him to check all the plays. But yeah, we had some guys, and he was one of them.
Yeah, no doubt. He had 11 career interceptions. He was an AP All-American before being drafted in the second round of the '84 draft, and of course played with the Houston Oilers for 4 years. So he had quite the career. It'll be great to have him back. I know he's doing a book signing as well on Friday, so he'll be a part of that. We'll look forward to being out there for that. I'm going to have him on our podcast this week. I'm looking forward to interviewing him as well. But he's gone on after his career too to have a successful post-football
When
career.
are we going to get Scott Berry
Well,
on
head's
the
gonna
Aggie Pride?
Oh no.
on the
no,
wall.
no.
I think he's the third person, don't you?
No. There's
Number 3.
30 guys in my lifetime.
There's
My name is not going on that
But
project.
it needs to go up there.
No.
I really wish, and I realize we're at 25 sports now, but gosh, I look at the Hall of Fame, and I look at this list every time, and I think of all these great players that are not in the Hall of
I
Fame.
agree.
I see Scott Berry, not Scott Berry, you're Scott Berry, Ken O'Brien up there, the lone sentinel. Now there'll be Bo Eason, but I keep thinking you've got the Casey Merrills, the Mike Wise, the
Mike
Sean
Morosky,
Rogers,
yeah.
Mike Morosky. I mean, holy moly, there's a bunch of
JT O'Sullivan,
you know,
NFL. There's a lot of
Rolf
guys.
Benershka. I mean, how many guys could you put up there?
Yeah.
Calvin Ellis and
I agree.
so it goes all the way back. Somebody was actually talking about all the great quarterbacks, and then they said, well, what about Dick Carrier? And I mean, well, there you go. It was 63 team. So
Yeah, there's a lot of great players you could do, and it'll be great to have Bo up for the game on Saturday. All right, Scott, your final thoughts. We've got a couple minutes left here. Your takeaway on the game on Saturday.
I spent the last 2 days watching film of Weber. We watched some over the weekend as well. And when I was looking at them, offensively, they're going to run the football. They've got, Josh Davis, and they got the other big back, Chris Jackson, who has eight touchdowns. And so the triple option of Cal Poly is a kind of an offense that sets you up to try to throw deep, which they did a couple times. I don't get that from Weber State. I mean, they're going to run the ball. If they have to throw, they will.
Yeah, they played a couple quarterbacks, so they're still trying to get that settled away.
Jake Constantine was playing in the film that I watched, but they're going to run at you. A lot from under center, a couple backs in the backfield. They'll spread it out. So they're doing a lot of different things, but their DNA is run right at you. On defense, they got a couple active guys. Number 7, the strong safety, Preston Smith.
Jonah Williams, that guy is a load as well.
Jonah Williams stands out, and then Baea, the middle linebacker, he's got 41 tackles. So they look like an athletic defense. They got beat a couple times by Northern Arizona deep on some big plays. But they're a stout defense. I think it's a blocking and tackling game.
Yeah,
it's an execution game. Like, be precise, execute. Stay in the game.
Yeah, it's going to be a fundamental game, and Coach, certainly it's going to be a fun one on Saturday afternoon at Brewfest. Another huge crowd out there. Everything that you've been trying to build here, not only within your program, but with the atmosphere and the crowd and just enjoyment and just a celebration of life at UC Davis.
I was telling Scott, I reminded our players of this, that really the opportunity to live in Davis and go to school at Davis and play football here, and what a great venue that we do have, and what a unique venue that we have. And we talked about not having a track around the football field, and there's great seats in the grass and where everybody can roll around. But you look at so many places around the country, including FBS teams. I was telling Scott, when I was doing the TV gig, I went to a number of games where you literally could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, major FBS teams. So I do think we have a cool environment. It's a family friendly, it's easy to get to. The administration's done a nice job of really making that kind of an event and atmosphere. Hopefully we're playing exciting football that people want to watch and want to see and come out and support. And I'm hoping, I guess we broke the attendance record last time, and hopefully we'll keep breaking it. I guess we're still hanging on the Reno game from '77.
Yeah, 12,700 is the largest.
Let's go to 13. I'm looking for 13 here.
Yeah, let's break it. All right, guys, thanks so much for being on the Coaches Show this week. That's going to do it for the Bud Light UC Davis Coaches Show. Again, the game 4 o'clock on Saturday. We'll have all the pregame action beginning at 3:30 with the countdown, the kickoff show right here on Sports 1140 KHTK. And go Axe!